Today I'll be sanding this painting. It's one of my favorites. She's a 24 by 30, and I've had this painting for a while. However, the background keeps bothering me. So as I come closer on it, if you notice, there are a lot of text lines throughout the white area, and you can't really notice when you're close to it, but when you stand back, all of the lines are really crooked. And to me, it just throws off the entire painting. It was meant to be a part of the painting. These are thoughts of peace and happiness that I was journaling for myself. And the whole idea is that she was thinking and writing the same thoughts. However, it didn't quite come out right. I tried to push the painting anyway, but it just keeps bothering me. So what I'm going to do, because I've already varnished it, I'm going to sand it, only the white area. And once I sand it, I will then add a layer of gesso to try to get rid of the text, and then a layer of white paint, and then varnish it all over again. And I just bought this little cool item from Amazon. It's a sander. I'm not quite sure what else to call it. It's really lightweight, and so the whole idea is to rub against the flat surface. It also came with a variety pack of sandpaper. You have anywhere from 120 to 3,000, the finest sandpaper out there. So you have tons of sandpaper to work with. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to start with today. I think probably with 240. I need something a little rough, but not too rough. So I may try a 180 and see how that works for me. And this is always scary because you don't know what you're going to get. This one has been exhibited in an art gallery, and I've been posting it everywhere. However, I keep coming back to making this change, and I'm going to go ahead and go for it and hope for the best. All right, we'll get started. I already started, and this varnish is pretty strong. It still feels super smooth. And the one thing about this is when you're trying to make a change, you really don't know what you're going to get. This is a 120 that I'm using. And again, the goal is only to sand the white area. But I think I need to put more elbow grease because it's still smooth as a baby's bottom. All right, we'll come back and try harder. All right, so I put a lot more elbow grease. If you notice, I'm no longer using, I don't even know what I did with it. This little guy. I couldn't really get in there like I wanted to, so I just used the sandpaper. I'm using a 120, fold it up, and just putting a little elbow grease to it. And it allows me to go around her face since we're only doing the white space. And so there's a slight sanding that has occurred. And so I'll probably do just a little bit more. And next we'll do a little gesso. So I'm using Liquitex. Now this is super heavy gesso, which, you know, it is really thick. I don't really recommend using this unless you plan on adding texture. However, it's the only gesso I have right now, and I don't feel like running to the store, so I might just add a little bit of water to it, but I think it'll work just fine. But super heavy gesso works really well when you're trying to get markings and making them unseen. It's super good. So I have some gesso here in my bowl, and I'm gonna add just a little water. Not much. And then we'll start painting. This ink is pretty hard to cover. All right, I have a ways to go. So as you can see, here's my titanium white. I'm putting my paint in a bowl. I'm just sitting in a chair, and my easel with my painting is right before me. I've already put one layer of paint after gessoing the canvas. It looks better already. And you can still kind of see the text lines, but not quite as much. And I'm going to add one more layer through and through. But I'm going to let this dry a little bit and come back with another layer, and we'll see how we're looking at that point. Okay, so now we are preparing for the final layer of varnish. I'm using Liquitex High Gloss Varnish as the final layer. And just to recap, I wanted to get rid of the text lines underneath. You can still see them, but it's not quite as noticeable and it looks a lot neater. So I'm satisfied with it. I sanded the white surface area, and then I laid a few layers of super heavy gesso by Liquitex. And then I added a layer of titanium white paint as well. And this is what we get. And so now I'm ready to varnish. I'll probably put 1 to 2 layers of varnish and we'll get started. And this is the completed work of Zuri. That's her name. I sandpapered the white surface area. I added super heavy gesso to cover the text lines. I added a couple of layers of titanium white and a couple of layers of varnish using Liquitex. And she's dried and ready to go. I'm pretty happy.